All right, so the students who are tuning in today, since we have some time, if you have any questions before we begin, please feel free to ask those questions and we will try to answer right now.
I can't wait when we can go back to having the open house in person.
Yeah, hopefully next year we will have regular open hours where we will get to visit all the labs and see the facilities in person.
That's right. We had like the engineering 1 to 3 and 1 to 5, I think, a couple years ago, right? That were visited.
I have a question, if I can ask.
Sure, go for it.
I'm transferring in fall for materials engineering, and I was curious if it's really difficult after 1 or 2 semesters to switch to mechanical, because that's what I've been studying at my community colleges until now.
So your question is, you have been studying mechanical engineering and you want to transfer over to ME, maybe after you join as a materials engineer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So the process is, it's kind of a long process because ME is impacted. That means we get a huge number of applicants compared to what we can actually take in. So what you need to do is during your first semester, schedule an appointment with me and I will create a study plan for you. A study plan is simply a set of classes that you need to focus on during your first semester. So this may be from your mechanical engineering major, your materials engineering major, and we will closely monitor your progress in those classes. So if you score a certain minimum grade or better, we will be able to consider you to change your major to mechanical engineering. Okay, so I can give you more details and everything when we meet, but please do make it a point to meet with me during the first 2 or 3 weeks of the semester. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm the department chair for mechanical engineering. I forgot to introduce myself. So you can either write to me or you can stop by the mechanical engineering office and you can get my contact information, or if I'm there, I'm happy to meet you in person. Any other questions when we have this time?
Yeah, I think I have one.
Okay.
Since I'm still at my community college over here, is it possible for me to try to get an internship for next semester right now at SJ?
It is always possible. The only thing is that for your first internship, you may have to apply to a large number of companies to get 1 or 2 offers, right? So I would encourage you to work with the Career Center, where we have a platform called Handshake, where they post several internship opportunities. So you can submit your resume to the Career Center and also apply to these internship opportunities by yourself. And then try to bag a first internship. So once you get to the first internship, it is much easier to get subsequent internships. Okay. So that makes sense.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, we have another 5 minutes before our official start. For those who are joining us right now, welcome. Welcome to the Mechanical Engineering Open House. If you have any questions at this moment, please feel free to ask those right now. We will also have at least 30 minutes to answer your questions at the end of my presentation. do we have any new freshmen here? So I guess most of you are transfer students, right?
Hassan Charawala is a new freshman.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome to ME department, whether you're a freshman or a transfer student. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got a message from this CC. So apparently that's the transcriptioning service. So that's not a person. So they will be providing the closed caption.
Looks like Alexi has his hands up. Oh, no, no more. Never mind. Hands up. Did you have a question, Alexi?
Oh, no, sorry. I was just playing around with the reactions.
Oh, okay. They are tempting.
Liddy and Dowan, if you could monitor the chat as I go through my slides, that would be great. So we can answer those questions at the very end.
Certainly.
I don't know if Dr. Lee has any trouble joining the meeting.
Yeah, maybe I should send him the link. You emailed him though.
I did. I did email.
He should have the link. It was not mandatory, so it is possible that he had other plans.
I didn't have yesterday, so
when you send him the link, tell him to join as an attendee, because he may be trying to sign in as a host.
That's possible.
Because they gave me both the option to be in as a host or as an attendee, and the proper one is attendee.
Oh, okay. You do me a favor and email him again with the link and give that instruction to him.
Yeah, Doan, that's a good idea, especially you were able to do it that way. Yeah, just posting the website since I'm sure you'll be talking about it. If people want to scroll around as you're talking. 16.
All right, it's 1 o'clock, so let's get started with this session. So welcome to Mechanical Engineering Department. My name is Dr. Vimal Vishwanathan. I'm the department chair for Mechanical Engineering. I'm here with Liddy Rachel, who is our administrative analyst, and Doan Toy, who is our administrative support coordinator. Hopefully we will have, Dr. Lee is here. Welcome, Professor Lee. So Professor Lee is one of our senior faculty members in the Mechanical Engineering Department, and he's also helping us with this session today. Feel free to, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. Liddy and Dowan will be helping us by monitoring those chats, and we will answer those questions at the very end of this session. I have a very short presentation today. I hope all of you had a chance to watch the video recording that I posted on the event website. Some of the information has been updated since that video was created. So I also would like to talk about those updates in today's session. So let me go to my slides. There we go. Okay, so once again, welcome to the Mechanical Engineering Department. I would like to begin with an overview of the ME department. Sorry, I'm not sure what's going on there. It's kind of advancing the slides automatically. So our department offers two degrees. One is the Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering, the BSME degree, and the second one is the MSME degree, the Masters of Science in Mechanical Engineering. We are also home to the robotics minor. This is kind of a new minor that we introduced, I believe, last semester, but it's already very popular among our undergraduate students. So we accept freshmen and transfer students. I know several of you are transfer students and a few of you are new freshmen. Whatever your status is, welcome to the ME department. About half of our graduating seniors are actually transfer students from the Bay Area. And we occasionally get a few transfer students from other places beyond Bay Area. So currently we have around 900 students in the department, supported by 15 full-time faculty and 25 part-time faculty. And we also have one admin analyst, which is Liddy, and one admin coordinator, Doan, and we have a technician to help us with our labs and beyond. I'm pretty sure all of you are interested in knowing about our BSME curriculum. So we have several components to our BSME curriculum, beginning with the general education component, then some fundamental classes in math, physics, and chemistry, a few lower division engineering courses that will give you the understanding of programming, CAD, electrical circuits, statics, basics of mechanics, and things like that. And then these coursework will lead to our upper division fundamental classes, including mechanics, thermodynamics, machine design, mechatronics and controls, all these advanced classes. Once you are done with all these fundamental courses, you will be required to finish an advanced design class, which we call as a capstone. So the capstone is going to give you kind of a specialization in a specific area of mechanical engineering. I'll give you more details in one of the upcoming slides. Then you have to complete 6 units worth of senior design sequence, along with 6 units worth of electives. Typically, the capstone class and the electives go together. So most of our students take all these 3 classes in a single area of interest, so they can gain more in-depth knowledge in that area of interest. So as of now, we have a total of 120 units in the major, but you can see some of the units, some of the parentheses that says changing to 125, for example, right there. The reason is we are waiting for an approval on a proposal to change our degree units from 120 to 125. It's not approved yet. If it gets approved starting fall 2022, we will be changing some of these units. So instead of 120 units, we would need 125 units to finish your degree. And this is primarily due to some changes in the general education requirements provided by the state. And also we have added some extra units to some of the critical classes that can use additional lecture time or lab time and things like that. All right. So as I mentioned, during your senior year, you are going to specialize in one of the three areas. Mechanical engineering is a very wide area. So it covers several sub-disciplines. So we offer specialization in three different sub-disciplines. One is the mechanical systems design. So this is the area that covers topics such as advanced mechanical design, manufacturing, computational analysis of fatigue and stress in your designs. Then in mechatronics, that is the second area of specialization, we cover topics related to sensors, actuators, control systems, robotics, all those kind of topics. Then fluids and thermal engineering is the third area of specialization. It covers topics including power generation, water systems, cooling of electronics, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, those related topics. So during your senior year, you will get to choose one of the capstone courses in one of these three areas, and along with 2 electives in the same area that will give you an in-depth knowledge in that particular area of interest. So when you go for your job interviews and such, you can say that you have taken advanced courses in this area. So this is the area that you want to focus on in your career. So why do you need to choose the mechanical engineering program at SJSU? So these are some of the strengths of our program, including a dynamic curricula. So we teach you the required fundamentals of mechanical engineering, and then you get to choose a specialization where you can learn more contemporary skills. We have several labs as a part of the BSME degree, so you get a lot of hands-on experience as a part of this program. We provide you the knowledge of modern tools, including the CAD modeling software, 3D printing, sensors and control systems, numerical and computational modeling tools. So a number of tools that you will get to experience during your time at SJSU. You need to complete a senior design project sequence. This is a 1 year or 2 semesters span where you get to start working on a problem from scratch, create a paper design, create a detailed design, prototype, test, and even reiterate some of these prototypes. So by the end of the senior design sequence, you will be applying all the knowledge that you gained during your BSME degree into a real life project. We have well-qualified pool of full-time and part-time instructors. So several of our part-time instructors work full-time with industry. So we have people coming from all sorts of industry, government agencies, national labs, and places like that. So all these people are well qualified, and they are very approachable. So you will get to learn from them throughout your BSME degree. We also have in-person student advising. So we want our students to be successful in their BSME degree. Also, we want you to graduate on time. So we meet with you every semester. So designated advisors meet with you every semester to make sure that you are staying on track in a timely manner to complete your degree. Faculty are very easily approachable, and they have office hours and everything. Faculty are required to give you office hours for each course that you take. So you can easily access the faculty. A majority of our students get internship opportunities during their degree program. As I was answering one of the questions earlier before the session began, we have a career center that is dedicated to helping our students to find internships and full-time opportunities. So we work closely with the career center in order to post internship opportunities and full-time opportunities. They will also provide you support and assistance with resume preparation, interview preparation, and everything. We also have several student clubs that are very active. Many of them participate in annual competitions. So you get to work with them and learn your new skills, which are not gained from a typical classroom. So these are some of the unique advantages of attending the BSME program at SJSU. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions during the process, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them at the end of this presentation as in the order that we receive the questions. Okay, so I think this slide is going to answer the one of the questions in the chat about the senior design projects. So students work on a 1 year long senior design sequence. This is a group project. A typical group size is 3 to 4 students. We do have several industry-sponsored projects. So every spring and summer, we get inquiries from industry about giving a senior design opportunity to our students. So we offer them as senior design projects. So you get to work with an industry sponsor on a realistic project. By the end of your senior design sequence, you need to provide either a fully functional prototype or some kind of a data to your industry sponsor to satisfy their requirements. We do have senior design projects that are sponsored by student clubs. We also have senior design projects that are self-sponsored by students. So if you have a design problem that has been in your mind for some time and you want to work on it with the help of a team, you can definitely propose to one of our faculty members and they will be working with you as a senior design project for that last 6 units. Well, not technically last, but during your last 2 semesters at SJSU, you'll be working on that project as a senior design. So this is a place where your fundamental knowledge that you gained at SJSU will be put to test. And you will be required to demonstrate that you have learned all those things and you can apply those skills in a realistic project. So here are some examples. So these are kind of old examples, but these are covering multiple disciplines. That's why I put them there. So one of the previous design project was a satellite debris collection using innovative adhesive methods. So there is a YouTube video here. You have these slides on the event website. So please click on this link and try to watch that video later on. It's a very interesting project. Same way here, we have the Spartan Superway, which is our long-running project headed by Professor Furman. So this is an off-ground transportation system that is being developed for the city of San Jose. And it is completely sustainable because it is powered by solar energy. So they have created multiple prototypes of this transportation system, which is housed in an off-campus facility. But every year we have multiple senior design teams working on this project, and they are carrying this project forward towards a realization. And another award-winning project from San Jose State is the staircase climbing wheelchair. So this was one of the ASME award winners a couple of years back. And several of our senior design teams participate in this ASME competition, which is a national competition, and win prizes pretty much every year. So that shows the quality of our senior design projects. Many of you might be familiar with the Formula SAE competition. So our Formula SAE team participate in this competition every year. And recently they have been very successful in their competition. So in 2017, they took the 6th place in the largest competition of Formula SAE in Michigan. And that was one of the biggest win by a California team in Formula SAE competitions. So there are again videos and everything available at the Formula SAE website, and also the Facebook page. It has a video showing some snippets from these competitions and everything. So please take a look when you have some time. One of the important things that many of you may be interested in is about internships and employments. So several of the Bay Area companies hire our graduate students, hire our undergrad and graduate students. So these are some examples. And what is listed here are the large employers, but we have several smaller employers that come to us for hiring our bachelor's and graduate students. Even startups come to us very frequently and ask for resumes and applications from our students. So our students work in a variety of areas, including semiconductor industry, aerospace industry, automotive industry, electronics, thermal management industry, biotechnology, energy-related careers. So a lot of options for you as a BSME student. And internships, both during the regular semesters and summer, are very common. I would say more than 90% of our students who are interested in the internships can find something by the time they graduate. Now, this is the part where ideally we could have gone to these labs and taken a look at our facilities. But since we can't do that today, I'm showing you some pictures of our major facilities. So these are the facilities you're going to come across as a part of your coursework. And I'm not going to show any of our research labs. So we have several other labs which are dedicated to research. But these are the facilities that you're going to use in your BSME coursework. So this slide shows the ME machine shop. It's located in engineering building room 123. So you can see a bunch of facilities here. So this is the Formula SAE chassis. So they build their vehicle almost completely in the machine shop. So this is the current chassis you can see there. And we have another chassis hosted in the machine shop. So we have a bunch of equipment. So most of these equipments are manual. They are not a computer numerical control or CNC machines. We do have, I believe, one CNC machine in this machine shop, but we do have lathes, milling machines, drill presses, several other equipment in this machine shop. We also have a dedicated welding station. So you can see the Formula is building their chassis here. And we have 3 or 4 welder machines available in the machine shop. So if you're participating in a club like Formula SAE or Mini Baja or a club like that, you get to learn a lot of hands-on experiences by participating in these fabrication activities. This is another lab that you're going to visit sometime as a part of your coursework. This is the Instrumentation and Data Acquisition Lab directed by Professors Mysore and Zaidi. So we have several data acquisition systems that you are going to work on as a part of experiments and things like that. Then the Mechatronics Lab, which is used for our mechatronics coursework, especially ME 106, the fundamentals of mechatronics class. So we have several workstations and smaller equipment in this lab, and you will get to learn your fundamental skills in mechatronics and controls in this facility. We have our Robotics Lab. We have several working robots in this area, and we have a classroom also integrated with this lab. So we have like a 6 degree of freedom robot. We have several kind of equipment to build basic robots in this facility. This is one of the first labs. So if you're a freshman, this is one of the first lab that you will be using as a part of your freshman year coursework. So this is the computer-aided design lab, or the CAD lab, located in rooms 213 and 215, directed by Dr. Agarwal. So this is where we have high power computing tools and CAD modeling tools available using network computers and everything. So 215 is an open lab, so you can access it during the regular working hours and use that facility for your coursework, your project work, and everything. 213 is more like a dedicated classroom where ME20, ME165, and other CAD classes are being conducted. So with that, I'm going to stop my presentation here and open up the floor for questions. I'm pretty sure most of you have questions related to your coursework, our facilities, and everything. So I'm going to open up the floor for those. Right.
Actually, there were some questions on the chat room, Dr. Vishwanathan, one from Hassan. What resources are there outside of the classroom to assist students in this program? If we want to join a project, do we need to have completed the classes prior to this?
Okay, Hassan, is your question specifically about student clubs and such? Is that what you're asking?
He says yes.
Okay, yeah. So for student clubs, there are a variety of opportunities. So to operate machinery and such, you need to complete safety classes, which are coming up in your, let's say, sophomore year, end of sophomore year, or beginning of junior year. So if you haven't completed the safety related classes, you can still work with this team, but not do any machining or any operation of any power tools or anything like that. There are still opportunities. So we have club leaders who do most of the hard work, and they will let you assist or be observers in their fabrication work and things like that. So there are a variety of opportunities, even if you don't have the required coursework. And also, you may be able to help these clubs with, let's say, some assembly work, some basic fastener assembly kind of work without using like welding or heavy machinery or anything like that, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question, Hazan, or do you have any follow-up questions?
You can unmute yourself, Hassan, and everybody in this meeting. If you want to ask a question, please unmute yourself by all means.
And Professor Lee, if you have anything to add, please feel free to. Do we have any other questions? Okay, let me see.
Lilu has a question. Can you register to the SAE formula as a freshman?
Yes, we do have several freshmen and sophomores working with the Formula SAE team, with some restrictions, of course, right? So as I mentioned, you may not be able to operate any of our machine shop machinery as a freshman or a sophomore, but you will have other opportunities to work with that.
Hassan had a follow-up question. What are the research currently going on? Is it possible for incoming freshmen to join?
Zali, do you want to take that?
Yes, I think so. I think there's to join, yes, and I think the well, I would say that the types of research, they're all over the map, and they reflect. If you go to our website and look at the faculty profiles, it really covers quite a bit, from transportation systems to robotics. I'm in the field of microfluidics and soft tissue mechanics, but energy storage technologies, advanced control systems, right? It's really all over the map. Additive manufacturing. My apologies. I could probably list 100 keywords of faculty research areas. And as different as the faculty interests are, so are your interests. And so the faculty do welcome you to say, hey, I saw that you have research going on in wildfire management, and right, that seems very contemporary, and do you have any opportunities for me? I'll save that for frosh, for new students, because you haven't had some of the core curriculum yet, some of the hands-on courses. Probably the most natural thing for many faculty to welcome is that, sure, come along. I've got a master's student working on his or her thesis on this topic, and come along. And then so as you accompany the research that is going on, that is a very gradual way to come up to speed. And then maybe if you're programming or your CAD, your work, CAD computer design work comes along, then you can start offering ways to contribute, and with the faculty, with the existing students who are on the research, can identify ways in which you can help. And sometimes, I'll be very honest, sometimes having a lab buddy is essential. We're always looking for a lab buddy, just for safety purposes, for your logic of thinking. Are you thinking through the process? So as maybe a senior or a graduate student might be working on something, it really helps them to talk through their methodology. And if you're there with them, the research moves better. And so I hope that kind of answers that. There's opportunity, but the extent of how much you contribute is something that grows. And so you can work with the different faculty. So I just encourage you to reach out, look at the different types of interests, see what sparks your interest. And I think faculty love it to hear early from someone early, because if you start out as a frosh, if you stay with that group by the time you're a senior, you'll be way more experienced than a master's student who's there for only a year and a half, right? And so it's welcome. And then you can talk depending on the type of field and type of work, how much and how immediate the contributions would be.
And we do have some students who work with faculty in their research, may not be in their freshman year, but more towards their junior or senior year, and even successfully publish papers and everything. So we get, I would say, at least 5 or 6 student co-authored publications every year, both from our full-time and part-time faculty labs. So yeah, there are opportunities. You just need to go out and talk to the faculty and try to see if they have a project that matches your interest.
Yes, I have 2 sophomores working with me, and then one of my collaborators, Dr. Owen, Materials Engineering, has a freshman working in her lab too. So there are opportunities.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat from Ruth. How long does it take to graduate? What is the rate of graduation for the mechanical engineering department for transfer students?
Okay, that's a good question. For transfer students, our 2-year graduation rate is, I believe, around 50%. And most of our transfer students take 2.5 to 3 years to graduate, I would say. Well, let me rephrase that. So around 50% students graduate in 2 years, and the rest of the students will take 2.5 to 3 years to graduate. And for freshmen, so I think there is another similar question in the chat about freshmen. So freshmen, obviously, we will help you to try to graduate in 4 years, but that will require some dedication and hard work to finish in 4 years. It is possible to graduate in 4 years, by the way. We have several students who do that, but currently our 4-year graduation rate is around 40%. And many students graduate in 4.5 years. And there are a few students who go to 5 years, or maybe few go to even 6 years, depending on your preparation with the fundamental classes from your high school. And if you have AP credits and things like that, you may be able to account for some of the lower division classes. So you may directly get access to the more advanced classes. Okay, what other questions do we have?
Kevin had a question. So do those internship and career opportunities ever extend out their offers for freshmen? I think this was answered.
Internship.
Yeah, so I think the question is about if the internship will convert to full-time opportunities. I would say it really depends, right? And there are several students. So in my experience with advising, there are students who get full-time offers after their internships and co-ops and things like that. But I really don't know a fraction, right? How many of them really get full-time opportunities? That information I don't have.
Okay, Kevin, was it Kevin's question about internship opportunities extend offers for freshmen?
Oh, it is specifically for freshmen. Okay.
I think Kevin Lee's question was about
yeah.
freshmen.
Do you know the answer to that?
No, I think it's not common. I think it would be the exception, not the rule. And actually a rising sophomore, someone who's finished their frosh year, going to be a sophomore, and there's that summer, for example, it'd be not common. I think the sophomore to junior, yes, and certainly the junior to senior transition, yes, right. The junior to senior transition is the most attractive for the companies, right? Because they do internships for companies is an outreach venue, right? If they like you, right, it actually helps, you know, them recruit talent. And so the juniors writing to seniors are now, they've got a lot under their belt, right? They can actually contribute right away to an extent, as opposed to someone who's just finished 1 year of college, right? And so 1 year of college, it's a broader outreach, not a direct investment to them, so it's less obvious of the benefit to them. So there'll be fewer such positions. It's not that they aren't there, but there'll be fewer. Whereas the junior sophomore transition, they see that as a potential future hire, right? And so that's starting the training process, it's starting their selection process to know who they really like. And then there's the sophomore junior transitions in between. So I'd say it's not that common that the frosh is off. Right. So it'll take probably, you know, extra effort, right, to seek out those opportunities, right, make it happen.
And just to add to that, during your freshman year, you are mostly working on your physics, math, chemistry kind of classes and some general education classes. You don't really get a lot from mechanical engineering, right? So you're not really prepared to do a full-fledged internship in a mechanical engineering field. So it is not impossible, but it would be very difficult, I would say.
So there's a question from Alexi in regards to what type of classes are needed for the robotic minors. I found this link here, I think might help. I mean, you know.
Okay, for robotics minor, or for that matter, any minor, you need 12 units minimum separate from your major classes. So you require additional 4 classes apart from your major. 4 classes as in, like, if you consider 3 unit classes, 4 of them. Now that being said, you will be required to take the Mechatronics capstone as one of the required classes as a part of the minor, along with a bunch of electives from the mechatronics and robotics area. Many other classes that you will be covering as a part of your major requirements will also count towards your minor, but then you will be basically double counting those both for your major and minor. But mainly you will be completing mechatronics and robotics electives and the capstone.
Thank you, Dr. V. There's another question from Hassan. What is the student to professor ratio in the lower division and upper division? How difficult is it to seek help outside of the classroom?
Okay, that's a very good question. So at lower division, when you take classes like physics, math, and all, the student to professor ratio is fairly large. So we have classes that are 70 or 80 students in each section. But when it comes to upper division classes, you will have more manageable class sizes. So a typical class size is 35 to 40 in upper division coursework. But we may occasionally have some double sections where a single professor may be teaching double section, which accounts for about 70 students in a class, but that's very rare. Majority of our classes are 35 to 40 students in the upper division coursework.
Thank you. Can senior design project be taken in the summer?
Unfortunately, no. Senior design sequence starts only in the fall semester. So your first semester of the senior design sequence will be in the fall semester, and you'll be finishing it up in the spring semester. So it's an official official sequence of classes. So you need to start that in the fall semester.
All right. So carrying on, are there any new programs or projects that you're excited about?
We do have several new projects, especially. So one of the programs that I'm excited about is our robotics minor. So I do see a lot of interest that is coming from our students. And that's understandable, right? So we are living in the Silicon Valley, and a minor in robotics and mechatronics is going to be very valuable for our graduating seniors. So we have a lot of interest, and hopefully we can offer other relevant minors in the future, right? So we have some items in the planning right now, in collaboration with other departments and all. Projects, we have several projects. So I don't know if any of you saw the news lately, but our Spartan Superway project was the highlight of all the news channels maybe a month ago, right? So it was telecasted in the Bay Area, one of the Bay Area news channels, and picked up by the national media. So it was very exciting to see our professors' work being highlighted in the national media. So we also have the new wildfire research. So we have a newer assistant professors, Professor Ali Tauhidi. So he is collaborating with the College of Science in order to build a new wildfire research center that will focus on the California wildfires and how to prevent those wildfires, or even save lives during a wildfire season, right? So those, I would say, are very exciting to me, right? They are very, I would say, required research or required projects for our Bay Area and the local community. Do you have anything to add, Professor Lee? Anything that excites you?
Oh, I don't know. It changes every few years too. I think the wonderful thing about the mechanical engineering major is that there are so many different sub-disciplines in the major, right? And then, personally, and each faculty member has their own, right, passion and expertise. And so I think a lot of my recent research has been in vascular mechanics and thrombosis, so biological applications. But recently, we have some federal funding for soft battery electrolytes, and so it spans quite a bit. And likewise, you talk to all the other faculty members; they've got things that they're working on. And so I think it's a matter for students to go find someone of common interest. And the great thing is we have this critical mass of faculty size that I am certain that you'll probably be able to identify 3 or 4 faculty members, right, who are doing something that hopefully triggers your interests.
Well, thank you, Dr. Lee. So as another question, Hassan, as another question, are there classes in programming that will be taken during this program, and which languages, if so, especially towards the robotic concentration?
Sure. So one of the fundamental programming classes that you take during your BSME degree will be ME30. That's a programming class in Python. So I believe majority of our mechatronics classes deal with Python, though there are some classes that focus on MATLAB. So I would say some of the advanced electives in mechatronics, they teach MATLAB, programming for mechatronics in MATLAB. And again, these two other languages that I'm familiar with in our mechatronics program.
Yes. And then, but if I could add that if you came up on your prior experiences with C++ or other languages, it's all welcome. I think by the time you graduate, I think it's not so much being locked into one choice. Python is by far, I think, the current modern number one. So if we were to say our number one is Python, but the ability to code, I think, especially in the mechatronics STEM, is something that you're going to develop. And we've had very successful alumni come back and give talks. And they say you just start with a language, but as far as data structures, and then data structures and algorithms, it doesn't really matter, right? And so I think, so don't worry if you've invested a whole lot in C++ or Java or whatever it might be. So our ME30 class has evolved. We've introduced, started out very heavy, way back in the day with C and C++, right, Java. By now it's Python, and maybe 5 years from now it'll be something different. So don't worry too much about the choice of language. If you enjoy interfacing with hardware and software, then Arduino, Raspberry Pi, right, that type of modular coding is also useful. So so short answer is Python. Short answer is Python, right? The long answer is that there is a lot of coding in aspects of mechanical engineering, and especially strong in mechatronics STEM.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. There's another question from Alexis. What type of classes are focused on renewable energy and technologies?
Okay, that's a good question. So most of the renewable energy classes are senior level elective classes, but there is a new experiment added to our required ME120 class, which includes solar energy harvesting. So Dr. Chuko, who has been spearheading our ME 120 and ME 115 labs, so he has developed some of the experiments related to renewable energy, and we are trying to integrate those into these required coursework. Apart from that, there are classes on renewable energy and solar energy, ME 170 and 172. Which are upper division electives. So if you are in the thermofluids capstone track, those might be some of the electives that you may be interested in.
Thank you, Dr. V.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is all the questions that were on the chat. Oh, maybe one more. Oh, sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss any of the questions in the chat. Do we have any other questions? So feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask your questions.
I was wondering, and it's probably a little bit of a weird question. I take pipe organ lessons and privately, and was wondering if I could continue to take them privately at SJSU and somehow get a bit of credit.
Good question. So I wonder if we can use those classes related to art. Dr. Lee, do you have any idea? Maybe area C or something?
I think credit for the ME degree, it's not an easy question, right? The degree requirements on the units that count to your ME degree, hard to see. However, it's really interesting, and I applaud, right, the commitment to private lessons and it's very interesting though, like Dr. Merkalova leads acoustics, and we have an acoustics elective. And I can see an independent study, possibly. We have this course, it's numbered, we have course number assigned ME 180. It's called, I can't remember what it's called. It's the independent study course.
Independent study,
and
yeah.
if you see this connection between mechanical engineering and some other passion that anyone has, and you could connect with a faculty member who would support that, you may be able to come up with an ME 180 independent study that does explore, right, the connections between vibrations and acoustics in pipe organs, which could be an exciting opportunity. And there is we listen. So as far as what is or is not acceptable as an elective, it would be, again, it's not commonplace, right? But if you can make a case for you are applying your engineering skills, right, to something else that wasn't obviously mechanical engineering from the start, and you make that connection, you could submit Dr. Vishwanathan is the final authority on proving these, but you could, with a professor who backs you, you could say, hey, look, this actually does expand the knowledge of mechanical engineering in an interesting way, right, to another application. And it is meritorious as an engineering technical elective. And you can make that case. So it's possible. And you could also do something for credit that doesn't count on your ME degree units count. So I hope that's kind of a long answer, but I hope that helps. So it's interesting. I'd say if you are interested, perhaps, do speak to Dr. Mikulova, potentially Dr. Perez, right, who have expertise in acoustics and vibrations, right, to possibly explore what can be done there.
Yeah. And we do occasionally get some requests from students to recognize their research project as independent study and get elective credit for it. So those are approved on a case-by-case basis, but that's definitely an option for you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Where can we get the link to the recorded session? I propose to email to mechanical engineering, and I'm sure once it is forwarded to us, we can forward it to the students who want it.
I believe Sanela, who organized this event, might be emailing that to everyone, or at least posting that on the web page.
On the website, okay.
Yeah. I believe last semester that's what happened. The recording appeared on the event web page. So you might want to check that page after a couple of days.
Okay.
Okay, we have a few more questions, I think. Okay, so if a student needs help in a course outside of the classroom, what resources are there to help? Okay, that's a good question. For most of our lower division classes, we do have tutoring and similar assistance available through our library. So they do tutoring for lower division engineering classes, math, physics, chemistry, those fundamental classes. When it comes to upper division, we have a peer connections service, which is actually peer tutors embedded in our coursework, but then it is not by default. You have to talk to the faculty, and the faculty need to request assistance from peer connections. We don't have tutoring offered through the department for any of these upper division classes, but you can approach your faculty and ask for any resources and everything anytime. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so another question regarding the broad use of Python in mechatronics robotics coursework. Are you aware of if we will be working with ROS 2 framework in any of our coursework? I don't have the expertise in that area to know the answer to this.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be in 192. So Dr. Jang, right, I believe is teaching it the next time around. So we could refer you to the instructors, right, of robotics courses. So, for the exact what's going to be used in a particular year. So I don't know the answer, yes or no, right now either.
So if you could send this question to the email that Liddy mentioned, so that's mechanical-engineering@sjsu.edu. we can direct this question to the mechatronics faculty, and hopefully we can find an answer for you. Okay. Okay, so Doan posted a link to the peer connections on the chat. So if you're interested in exploring that, please go to that link and see that. Yep, that's all the questions on the chat. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'll back the peer connections question. Is that one of the students in one of my current classes who really knows his stuff, and he's when presently he's always early with his assignments, which is very rare. It's hard to do, juggling things too. But is a peer connections tutor, right? And so I think the peer connections tutor may be upper division students, right, in mechanical engineering. Also, you can make that connection, and not just for the subject matter of that class, right, but for someone, an upperclassman who's a couple years ahead, perhaps too, right, who you can have those conversations about just the success in the major in general, in addition to the help you get in one particular subject area. So the peer connections is something to take advantage of.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? We have another 8 minutes before the session ends. Okay, any other facts or parts of mechanical engineering that you guys are interested in knowing about?
Another question came in the chat. Will we still be required to go to the campus tour this summer, to the on-campus tour this summer?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. So the campus tour is organized by at the university level, I believe, and they are the only people who conduct in-person tours this semester. All other departments and colleges are required to do their open houses online. So this may be an opportunity for you to visit the campus, so it may be useful. They might even come through engineering corridors. I have seen a couple of groups walking through the corridor last couple of days. So might be a good experience for you, but I don't know if it is required or not.
Kevin has a question in regards to fraternity. Where can we find information about fraternity? I am not sure about that.
So we have a, I don't know if this is the correct answer, but Pi Tau Sigma is our honor society. It's not really a fraternity, but it's our honor society. So you will get an invitation to join Pi Tau Sigma if you satisfy all the requirements towards, I believe, your junior year or senior year. I'm not 100% sure about that. Do you know anything about that, Dr. Lee? Pi Tau Sigma?
Yeah, not specifically. And then there's Pi Tau Sigma is the mechanical engineering one. Yeah. And then Tau Beta Pi is the engineering wide one, right? Which is inclusive of all. And these are more, I say you would call it an engineering honor society as opposed to a fraternity. You might see the word fraternity used with it, right? But yeah, not as opposed to a fraternity as like a housing alternative. That's different.
Yeah. So technically they are called fraternities, but they don't offer all the activities that a typical fraternity might provide, but more honor society kind of activities. There's another question. If we visit in an in-person tour, will we be able to see the labs? Okay, that's a good question. We have received requests from multiple students and their parents about a mechanical engineering tour. So we are not really allowed to do a huge crowd kind of tour in the mechanical engineering department. And unfortunately, we don't have enough manpower to organize like individual tours either, right? So yeah, the answer is unfortunately no at this point. Any other questions? Are we able to access the earlier slides after this? I can send these slides to Sanela and hopefully she can post it on the web page. There are some slides, but those are from the last semester. So I will ask her to update with these new slides. All right, so if there are no more questions, I would like to thank everyone for joining us. It has been great chatting with all of you, and we look forward to seeing many of you in our department in the coming semesters. So there's another question. Are there a lot of women faculty in ME? We do have a good number of women faculty in the ME department. So you can visit the ME webpage. I think either Liddy or Dovan shared the web address earlier. So you can go to the faculty page and see how many women faculty we have.
And I think if I could add that we only lose our women faculty to higher positions. I think Dr. Ginny Rhee is now Dean of Engineering at CSU Long Beach, I think it is. Yeah. And our former chair before Dr. Viswanathan, Dr. Akamoto, was our department chair for many years. And she is now an associate dean at the College of Engineering. So mechanical engineering faculty, unfortunately, and Dr. Raymond Yee, right? Not just female faculty, but mechanical engineering faculty do well, and we only lose them to success. Dr. Raymond Yee is the associate dean of extended studies, and he's a long time faculty member in our department. So we have overall successful faculty in general too, and several from both men and women.
Yeah, and most of our faculty stay here for a long time. So we have a good faculty retention. So when you come, so once you graduate and come back after several years, it's more than likely that all the faculty that you took courses with are still here, right? So it's a good thing to have such a great faculty retention in our department. All right, so with that, let's end the session. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us using that email, mechanical-engineering@sjsu.edu, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, right? So thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye now. Thank you, everyone.